Hey guys, so I figured for this Real Talk with Kym, I would actually do my makeup because I'm kind of trying to multitask right now. I have a lot of things to do today, so I figured I would do my makeup while I do this video. And today's Real Talk with Kym is going to be about, I guess I call it flaws really, but I really don't consider it a flaw. But someone asked me a question on a recent video, and I'm actually going to read it to you right now, so let me find it on my phone. So she said, I would love it if you could do a video on loving yourself and your biggest flaw about yourself, because I struggle with having a big forehead and I constantly get made fun of. I mean, I wear bangs, but I'm always afraid of what someone would say if they see me without bangs and the wind blowing them up. I feel really ashamed of my big forehead and I don't think I'll ever get over it. I'm 16 by the way, and thanks. Okay, so basically, let me start off by getting my foundation before I do anything. No, actually, I'm going to do my eyebrows. Gotta get my mirror. And if you hear Lay, she's down here, and I feel like if I say her name she's gonna start crying for me, so eventually, probably towards the middle of this video, she's gonna be sitting in my lap. But yeah, I just figured I'd let you guys know if you start hearing little grunting noises or whining, that's her. So let's just start off with the obvious. Yes, I do have a very large forehead. Well, I wouldn't consider calling it like very large. I just say it's like bigger than normal. And obviously. Yeah, so it never really bothered me. In fact, when I was growing up, my sisters and my brothers would probably pick on me about different things. Like I remember, I think, I used to suck my fingers a lot, so they would call me a rabbit. And my two teeth in the front were really big for me when I was little, so they would call me a rabbit and I'd get upset. And my mom would be like, you can't call her a rabbit. So they would be like, okay Kym, we're going to call you Princess Hair. And I was like, oh okay, you know, like I'm fine with that. And of course, it's the same thing, but I didn't think of it then. So that's the only thing I really remember being picked on about. It was never my forehead. I think when I really did start noticing that my forehead was larger, it was when I was in, I want to say like 8th grade high school, and that's because I was always homeschooled through my entire every year, never been to school. So around 8th grade high school, our church had a youth group, so I was more like around kids my age and things like that, and that's what I noticed. I was like, you know, this is getting a little big here, but it still didn't bother me too much. But I do remember one period in my life that, like, I'd say around 9th grade, I would wear these bandanas, and I probably have some pictures of them, but I can't find them, but I have a lot of pictures of me wearing bandanas. And I would always put it right here. So I'd wear like these red or blue or whatever weird bandanas, and it would cover half my forehead. But I don't know why I did that. I think maybe I was a little self-conscious then, so I did start hiding it a little. But to be honest with you, I never really was to the point where I was like, this is something I have to fix. This is something that I am going to always have to avoid, because at the end of the day, this was a part of me. So I was just like, you're gonna have to deal with it. Okay, so rewind a little bit, and I actually forgot to mention this part. Also, I remember one thing that my mom would always do when we were growing up, because it was only really around my siblings a lot that time, except for like on weekends with my friends and things like that. I remember my mom would always have it where you can never make fun of the other person. So it was like we weren't around that environment where people were making fun of us. But I remember she would also, because we are Christians, so she would play like these tapes. And I remember this one song that was just like, you know, you're like unique, and God loves you, and he made you, he doesn't make a mistake. So that was always like embedded into me, where I was just like, you know, everyone is different, but you're not a mistake. You know, really it's not considered a flaw, because if you're saying it's a flaw, then you're saying that God made a mistake on you. And that's really just like what was into my memory, like just everyone's different. I'm going to have something that's a little bit different than you, and at the end of the day, if it's a little bigger or extra, then that's just because God took a little more time in that area, and he really considers that like something he likes a lot. So to me, I would consider maybe my forehead a flaw, but to him, this could be some part of me that he liked a lot and wanted to enhance it. So that's what I really remember from that. But I'm not going to sit around and say that I have never been picked on with my forehead, because that would be a lie. I have been picked on with my forehead. That's just something that is natural. Everyone's been picked on about something. And it just, to me, it didn't happen until it was later on in life. Like, I do remember once in a while, like randomly someone would be like, oh, you have a big forehead, or something like that. And I would just be like, really? Well, you're smart. Like, hello. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to see that. So to me, it just would be like, okay, and like, that's the biggest thing you're gonna say, you know? So that never really like fazed me, but I do remember also getting picked on that in college. And funny thing is, my husband actually picked on me about that. I remember when we met, like a few days after we met, we were inside the computer lab and we were talking to each other, and he was like, oh my goodness, I know who you remind me of. And I'm like, well, who is it? And he's like, oh, you know, and he went on the computer and he turned the computer screen toward me, and it was Jimmy Neutron. And I'm like, really? So he was like, oh, I'm gonna call you Neutron from now on. And I'm like, okay, whatever. It didn't bother me, but it was just like, okay, like whatever. And so it got around like literally all my freshman year. Everyone called me Neutron. Everyone. All because of my husband. And he got upset after a while that people were calling me Neutron. I'm like, well, you're the one who thought of it. Like, he actually, this boy was like, hey, Neutron. I was just like, hey, what's up? Because I was used to it by now. That was it, what everyone was calling me. And so he went over to him and he was like, don't ever call her that name again. I'm like, you're the one who made this up, so don't get on him because he's following what you said. So, yeah, but to me, at the end of the day, I was always like, look, this is me. This is my face. If it was a feature that I could change, maybe I would. But to me, it didn't bother me to that point. I remember around this time, America's Next Top Model was out, and everyone would always talk about how large Tyra Banks' forehead was. And I said to myself, wow, if someone that beautiful and so accomplished and people can make fun of her forehead, to me, she became like my #1 hero. Like, I loved this lady because she stood for everything that I felt resembled me in a way. Like, you know, she had a big forehead, but still she was doing something that I always wanted to do, and she was modeling, and it was just like, she was so big. So I was like, well, not her forehead, but like in general, her career, her personality, everything was so huge. She was doing everything I would love to do in my life. So that's what I started looking at as someone that I was like, you know, looking up to. So if someone made fun of my forehead, I'd be like, okay, supermodels have foreheads like this, so it really doesn't bother me. So yeah, that's just a little background on my story. You know, there's a lot of other things too that I guess you can consider a flaw about me, but I'm just mentioning my forehead right now. What I would recommend if you're getting picked on, don't let it faze you, because let me tell you, if someone is picking on you, I guarantee they are not perfect. There is something about themselves that they don't like. So don't let it faze you, because at the end of the day, no one's perfect. And they may look like they're perfect on the inside, but there's something going on with them, whether it be physically or mentally. There's something that they just don't love about themselves. So don't feel like, oh, I'm never going to be as good as them. But yeah, I know there's this girl, I believe her name is Destiny Godley. She got like her forehead like reduced. I believe there's a surgery out there where you can get like forehead reduction. To me, I don't want to go through all that for it. Like, now, I don't mind plastic surgery. There are some things that I wouldn't mind doing, like, you know, but that's a whole story for another video. To me, it doesn't bother me that much. In the end, you need to really just embrace your flaws and take it as, this is the way I am, nothing's going to change, you know. And to be honest with you, I would rather have my big forehead than no forehead at all, because I have seen some people with their foreheads literally being this much and their hair starts like right here, and I can't deal with that. So to me, I feel like God made me the way I am, and I'm happy with it. I don't have a problem with it. Yeah, it can be annoying sometimes when someone points out something that's like different than other people, but at the same time, at the end of the day, you just have to be prepared to know that, you know, you're beautiful regardless of what you look like. Because at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter on what you look on the outside. It's really all about your personality on the inside. So you can be looking like a Victoria's Secret angel or a model or whatever, but if you have a crappy personality, it doesn't matter. So yes, #1, embrace your flaws. Let me pick up Layla. You see yourself? Is that what it is? She's looking at herself in the mirror right now. But everyone is born different. No one is the same. So don't feel like you have to look like anyone else. Who wants to look the same? Like, it's so much better to be different or other. If you watch Pharrell on Voice, he says other. And I like that because it's like everyone is unique. You don't try to fit in with someone else, because at the end of the day, it's better to be yourself. And to me, I've just learned to embrace all my flaws. Like, for instance, last week someone actually wrote on one of my videos and they were like, oh, you're ugly, or something like that. Oh, you know what they said? They were like, oh, you're fat. And I'm like, really? You didn't watch my video, because I'm telling you that you could have picked out something way better to pick on me with than that. So it's just like, you know, embrace your flaws. Don't take it seriously if people make fun of you, because they have their own problems. And so I never take it seriously if someone makes fun of me. Brush it off. They're going through a bad day. That's all I think of it as. Someone's going through a bad day. Pray for them and just move on. Some days, yes, I may feel a little self-conscious than others, but that's the day that I wear bangs, or that's the day that I decide to style my hair differently. But most of the time, I could care less about my forehead, because at the end of the day, I got too much stuff on my plate to worry about than a big forehead. Like, you know, like just don't, whether it be your forehead, your ears, don't feel like you have to change anything for anybody, because you were made so special and unique, and you're beautiful just the way you are. But yeah, never feel like you're alone that you have a big forehead, because you're not. Clearly, you're not alone. I have one too, and I'm fine with just the way I am, and you should be too. Also, if you guys have any more like suggestions or anything like that on what you'd like to see with Real Talk with Kyms, I already mentioned that I was going to make them, but I haven't since then. So I want to keep up with these, or just different little talk videos. Or you can email me as well. I will answer either way. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and hope you guys understood it. In fact, I just noticed now, I didn't finish painting my nails. So I'm going to go finish painting my nails, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!